Hey everyone, and welcome back to Holding the Line, a Logistics at a Crossroads podcast. It's me, your girl, Gia. And today we're going to dive into a part of this series where we're going to focus on the theme of resilience in the logistics and supply chain industry. Especially in the light of the disruptions we're seeing now. Between tariffs, trade slowdowns, and the seasonal shifts that impact global shipping, normally, there's a lot happening all at once. And while it can feel overwhelming to watch all of these headlines roll in, I want to spend some time exploring not just the challenges, but also the ways these moments have given us an opportunity to grow and evolve together. Now, as we move through this unpredictable period, many are feeling the effects of a slowdown, not just in U.S. trade, but in global trade. Key ports like Los Angeles, Long Beach, New Jersey, and Savannah are all feeling the sting. And the Wall Street Journal recently published an article that really brought this back to life. And they used photos of empty rows of containers and cranes with no ships underneath them standing still. And if you look at the numbers, it paints an even clearer picture. Just going by the Port of Los Angeles, they've seen container throughput fall about 6.5% to 10%, depending on which article you read, compared to this time last year. Now, just down the way at Long Beach, it's closer to 8.5 to 11. Idle container dwell times have stretched to an average of 8.5 days. Almost double what we saw back in 2023, where we were running at 3.5 to 4.5 days for an import to get off terminal. The effects are visible, and we're already seeing the impact on the lives of the workers. And I don't mean those in the boardroom, I mean the ones with boots on the ground. Dock hands, truckers, maintenance, and the planners. Those who truly make our supply chain industry tick. But here's something that has always helped me keep perspective. Shipping has always been an industry shaped by cycle booms and contractions. Back in 2001, after the downturn, global trade rebounded faster than anyone predicted. In 2015, the slowdown led to waves of consolidation. But it also brought innovative partnerships between ports and carriers. Every disruption we've had has been followed by transformation. And this time will be no different. This isn't the first time we faced adversity. Whether it was the 2008 financial crisis or the challenges of the last few years post-pandemic, we've adapted and innovated time and time again. And we'll do it now. And yes, it's easy to get bogged down by the headlines and focus on the immediate impacts. Delayed shipments, reduced volume, all this uncertainty, the chaos. But when you take a step back, you realize that this disruption is driving innovation across our industry. Companies are adopting new technologies. They're diversifying their shipping routes and rethinking their entire supply chain strategy. And here's how 3 of them are doing it: automation, machine learning, and predictive analytics. Those aren't just buzzwords anymore. They're the tools we need to make our systems more resilient and more efficient. And according to recent surveys, about 70% of shippers are ramping up investments in automation and predictive analytics to stay ahead of these challenges. Early pilots of AI routing tools have already helped some carriers cut delivery delays up to 15 to 20%. One example that I find inspiring and is closer to home is a pilot project at the Port of Savannah, where AI-driven predictive scheduling has cut truck turn times by nearly 20%. That's not just a nice statistic. It means more loads delivered, less wasted time, and lower emissions. That's the proof smart investments can drive real-world gains, even in a downturn. And it's not just happening here. European ports are grappling with labor strikes and equipment shortages, while in Asia, carriers are deploying smaller vessels to stay nimble as demand fluctuates. These global strategies are shaping how supply chains reconfigure in real time. But it's not only about containers on ships and cranes on the docks. That ripple effect extends to local economies and small businesses. And I mean restaurants, independent shops, and communities that rely on port activity are feeling the sting as shipping slows down. Since early spring, port labor hours on the West Coast have dropped about 10 to 12%. And independent truckers are seeing contract volumes down from 11 to 18%. And that means fewer paychecks, fewer deliveries, and a lot more uncertainty for the families that are depending on this work. And that is something we really must recognize. It's not just about the trade data. It's about the people who keep this industry moving day after day. I've spoken with planners who are working double shifts to rebook containers, and those dispatchers who are finding creative ways to keep their freight moving, even as their lanes dry up. And I talked to a trucker named Alana currently. She currently pulls OOG out of Gage from Jacksonville, Florida to North Carolina, and then grabs containerized freight from Atlanta to Chicago. Right now, she's only doing one or the other. She's not doing both. And she told me that she's using this slowdown to retool her business. She has 3 trucks. She's investing in fleet maintenance. She's training her team so that they're ready when the rebound comes. These stories remind me that resilience isn't an abstract idea. It's the daily decision, the determination to adapt, the belief that we'll make it through together. So, Gia, what's next for logistics? What do we do? As we look ahead, the question doesn't become, what do we do? It's how do we rise above these challenges? And that answer lies in our willingness to innovate and adapt. We've been through worse, and we will rise again, just as we've done before. This is the chance to rethink our systems, embrace new technologies, and build a logistics landscape that's not only resilient, but forward-thinking. And if you're listening right now and you're in this business, I'd encourage you to think about one area of your operation where you can start preparing for the rebound. Maybe it's in cross-training your staff. Maybe it's about exploring those digital tools you've been hesitant about. Maybe it's even reevaluating relationships with carriers. Small steps now can set you up to emerge stronger when the volumes pick up again. The future of logistics is going to be smarter, more efficient, and above all, resilient. And that is the future I'm excited to be a part of. If today's episode spoke to you, I'd love to hear your story. Reach out on LinkedIn or share how you and your team are finding ways to adapt. What innovations are you seeing? And remember, resilience doesn't happen in isolation. Let's keep holding the line together. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Holding the Line, a Logistics at a Crossroads podcast. Until next time, keep holding the line, keep believing in your capacity to adapt, and know I'll be right here navigating the crossroads with you.